Another thing I tell the kids, not many do, about as many that smell the leather, less than 5 now, a whole bunch more have done it. Standing desks, not sitting desks. I'm going to say it again. Monkeys. I haven't got to the chimpanzee yet, slide. Standing desks. A lot of high-performance guys stand at their desk. Other than you burn 250 to 400 calories more a day, that's not why I did it, but anyway. Standing desk. I was in the William Morris, my agents in their office in Los Angeles. I'm walking down the corridor, and I look in at a office, empty, and it's a guy's desk with a treadmill underneath it. You want to take it one step more? You walk on a treadmill, as you work all fucking day. Trim some of the baby fat off you lard asses. And standing desks and walking. I used to have conference calls whereby I'd have a speakerphone and I'd be running on the treadmill while I talk to these cunts. And this is doing deals. And I speak up! Of course, I'm pounding away. So I'm trying to accomplish something. At least I can burn some fucking calories instead of listening to you monkeys. But standing desks, treadmill under the desk. I have a table, special table for an elliptical and a stationary bike where I can put my laptop in front of me while I work. It's easier for me to do on the bike because I'm more stationary. On the elliptical, because my body's going like this, and because I'm not that coordinated, I mean, it's tough for me. It's easier for me to read than try to hit the keyboard because I type like this, 2 fingers. And a lot of high performance people do that. You probably don't know anybody that does, but then again, I've already said that you probably don't know too many high performance people. I was reading earlier. I said that I was reading the comments from a guy at the Jonathan Club that the reason why he became a member 40 years ago or 50 years ago is that because he wanted to meet people of the same ilk, same background, etc., like-minded, etc. And that's why I tell you to join these things. And I keep my membership, even though I haven't lived in the United States in a long time. I keep my membership in the Jonathan Club, which I've been a member since 1981. Any questions on anything that we've covered so far? And there are stupid questions. So this afternoon, we are going to continue to talk about how you got to be where you are, and and how you got to where you are, and how it's differentiated from the people that have influenced my life on that big wall. And actually, too bad the wall isn't bigger, because there's probably 20 or 30 more that I could put up there. But behind your head, directly behind your head, is Andrew Carnegie, who comes from just down the road a piece, from Dunfermline, Scotland, who in my judgment was the greatest entrepreneur of all time, and his net worth would be measured in hundreds of trillions, because he left, depending on the story, between 10 and 12. He was 10 and 12 when he went from Scotland to the United States, and became the big baron or magnate or whatever you want to call him in the mid to late 19th century, 1850, 60 to the turn of the century, and until he passed away. And most of the libraries and many of the schools and many of the hospitals that are in Scotland were funded by him, because he went a little nuts trying to give his money away towards the end of his life. Sally and I are trying to spend our way through it, but that's not going to work out. So I'm not contemplating death anytime soon, so we got a long time. In a few days after the seminar, I will be going to the North Pole, literally, by dog sled, mushing along. And it's interesting, in the South Pole, they don't allow dog sleds because the dogs poop. And in the South Pole is much more environmentally clean than the North Pole. Why? I don't have a clue. I don't know why. But they cut out dogs, etc., in the South Pole a few years ago. And not many people know it, but the South Pole is on a mountaintop. And at the magnetic South Pole, it's about the same as 13 or 14,000 feet. Well, it's the same. It is because it's on a mountaintop. And when we were there, we went to the science lab that who else would fund for $500 million a science lab? But the U.S. government. Okay, and 17 or 19 countries claim the South Pole because of the mineral rights they think that are there. Even Russia claims it. They're fucking in the north. And so we were there. We were married down there. And actually, we were married and we had our vows renewed down there, which we're going to do the same in the North Pole, which Guinness Book of Records tells us that we'll be the only couple ever to be married at both poles. We'll see. But while we were there at the lab, we had all these scientists, and there's some weird scientists who go to the South Pole who live in the fucking daylight for half of the year and in the dark the other half of the year. Some weird fucking dudes down there. And there was a guy from Caltech who, I know, it's 30, 40 below zero without the wind chill. And the sun's up because it's the summer that we were there in December. And he's wearing tennis shoes, Bermuda shorts, and a Caltech sweatshirt. Where he looked like it's a cross between Frankenstein and Einstein. Okay, so he's showing us stuff, and he's showing us this core of ice, which is about meter's 3 feet, yeah, about a meter high, and it's like this, and they've got like 6,000 or 7,000 plugs that they've done all through the North Pole, measuring stuff and whatever the scientists measure, and he's going through it, and he's going, this was 1,000 years ago, and it was this and this, and it looks all the same to me. It all looks Greek to me. I mean, you can't tell the variation of this frozen ice. To me, I can. And he says, down here, 55,000 years ago, okay, it was warmer on the planet than it is now. 55,000 years ago. Now, what does that tell you, melonheads? That, to my judgment, global warming's a load of hot shit, which I've always said. 2, the weather's cyclical on this big planet, and has been for 14 billion when it first started, but I mean the last million or 2 million years. It's cyclical, and they got it down to the degree how much warmer it is. And so I said, what's the degree of probability of you being accurate? And he says, plus or minus 2-3%. So that's close enough for government work, 2 or 3%, which means that, and if global warming is for real, and it's just part of the cyclicality of the weather, I just read an article in Scientific American, and I know all of you read Scientific American religiously. I know you do. That over the next 30 to 70 years, that the water levels on the planet are going to go up 50 to 120 centimeters. Okay? If that's true, Florida's gone. Los Angeles is gone. Manhattan's gone. Well, I mean, Venice is already going. London's gone. And I can go one after another after another. They're all gone. Finito caput. Okay. If that's true, the next big wave of lawsuits is going to be for the lack of disclosure in prospecti, buying condominiums in Florida. Because when you're buying beachfront condos in Florida that are going to be under fucking water, that should be disclosed. So meatheads like you that are buying the shit, but that's not happening, is it? Nobody's putting that in a prospectus when people are buying shit in Florida or Manhattan or wherever. So, I'm certainly going to be here 30 years from now. I'm probably going to be here 50 years from now. I doubt if I'll be here 70 years from now. Unless those stories about Methuselah and those guys that lived 300, 400, 500 years, in the Bible, if those stories are true, and I'd like to think they were true, because I know it'll affect me, I'm going to be around a long, long, long time. But I'm hoping I miss all that. Now, the castle has been here for 550 plus years. Through, all kind of shite, right? Well, when we bought it, I bought it because in those days I was a high-profile person, very, very high-profile, and I was worried about security and my kids getting kidnapped. I go down to Botswana on safari, and I talk to my wife on a long-distance phone, and she tells me our next child's going to be a girl. I said, no fucking way. We haven't had a girl in our family in a long, long. Anyway, and she says, but that's not the real news, Dan. Well, what's the real news? As I look over the fields, it's all green. Not the green ghost stuff. It's radioactivity. Fallout from Chernobyl. So I go up here thinking there'd never be a nuclear bomb up here. There's never anything going to happen up here. It's been here 500 years. We're going to be safe. Chernobyl exploded, and there's no mountains between here and Chernobyl more than 200 meters high. So all the nuclear activity just floated over and dropped on northern Britain, which is Scotland, fucked up the farming, the milk, and everything else for 15, 20 years. Man plans, God laughs. All the planning I did, and when we talk about plans are good until the first shot's fired. And then they all fall to shite. And by the way, I've never seen a unsuccessful business plan on paper. In all my years of reading them for 40 years, I've never seen one that didn't work out on paper. I've also never seen one that worked out like it's written. They just don't. Yeah, you guys will spend a lot of time on planning. That's why we use an executive summary when we get down to that part of the QLA. Executive summary, a page long, attached are the resumes of your dream team. And in some of your cases, you don't even have to put your resume. Just forget that and just put the dream team. That'll be good enough. Because you're not adding any value to the resume, to the executive summary. And we've had people that just did that. And when they ask, Jeannie or Howard, how come your resume is not on the executive? Oh, I forgot to add it. They didn't forget to add it. They didn't add it because you got 2 sentences. I jerked off when I was 15 and a half on my computer, fucked up my computer, and I got a what are you studying at Oxford?
Biochemistry.
I studied I read, they call it still reading, he read biochemistry at Oxford. And they gave me a master's, was it 10 years later or 5 years later?
I don't know. My boss said my course.
Huh? Okay, well, they give you a master's degree. You pay 25 quid, then they give you a slap on a master's degree. That's the extent of your CV or your resume. But, so, we've had people come in here that had business models based on global warming. We've had a couple. And we've had a few people make money on global warming, notwithstanding it probably isn't true. Okay. What the program teaches you how to do is fish with nets. Most of you have been fishing with a hook with no bait all your lives. Some of you have been fishing with a hook with some bait on it. Some of you have even learned to use a treble hook, meaning 3 hooks at the same time. We put a net across the river and we drop dynamite in the fucking thing and we kill the fish and they float to the top. That's the QLA way, which is not politically correct, but it works. Okay? YouTubers, see you tonight. Thank you.